Hello there, Reject Nation. I'm Greg Alba. What's your name?
I'm Julia Tranfalia.
Julia Tranfalia is here with us today. Go follow her on social media. Have you ever heard of this channel called Corridor Crew?
No.
I'm about to introduce you to a channel that I know you will get hooked on. This segment is called VFX Artists React to Bad and Great CGI. These guys are great. I've met them in person. You're gonna love these guys. Trust me, you'll love it.
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, I don't know how many times I'm gonna tell you this, but you're gonna love it.
Am I gonna love it?
I think you're gonna love it.
I don't know. Am I gonna love it, guys?
I know Julia because I was in a short film that you guys should go check out. It's on YouTube right now. Civil Defense Red Rover. It turned out wonderful, and Julia is the director of it. It's an alt history war short film. Everyone in LA is always like, I'm doing something, and I sometimes agree to be a part of them. I don't plug everyone that I've ever been in, but this one I will plug because it turned out pretty damn good. So go check it out today. I guarantee you when you see that this 22-year-old 2'5" girl directed this heavy war short.
I'm a bobblehead.
Go check it out. Civil Defense Red Rover put a lot of hard work into it, and there's some really good use of VFX.
AK Moore, God bless him. My producer, my VFX guy, my colorist. Gorgeous work.
There were moments where I was like, when did they shoot? Oh wait, that's added in. Yeah,
we did do practical for a lot of it.
Most of it is practical, but there are moments where I was like, oh wait, that's VFX, because I was like, when did they shoot that? Anywho, are you ready, Julia?
Oh. Greg,
my last name's a lot easier than your Italian last name. Kalima.
So cool. Every shot has a real element to it.
This is the actual set.
There,
Right there.
okay.
What?
Yeah.
What?
That's the real deal.
That's real?
It's just a
real?
preview of what's to
What was
come.
about this movie?
I love their voices.
Thank you to ExpressVPN for sponsoring today's episode.
We've worked with
Stay tuned
them.
to the end to learn how you can get your first 3 months free.
Welcome back to another wonderful episode of VFX Artists React. What are we talking about today, Nico?
Today we're going to talk about some really cool stuff. Like what makes CG look real. Also, why does that CG look so bad? All right, let's jump in.
Oh, is this a Supergirl clip? I haven't seen it yet.
You've never seen Supergirl, dude? Come on. Dude, if that's how you introed, not bad.
That's how I auditioned for Julia's short film.
Ooh. Wait, is that digital? Like, is that
But why?
CG head.
Why are you trying to do CG?
It's like Power Rangers.
Oh, Supergirl was the construction worker the whole time.
Is that one of her abilities?
I can build houses.
Go Megan! Oh! Limited budget, guys. Limited budget.
Don't be so sure.
This definitely looks like amateur After Effects effects.
Well, they're biting off more than they can chew. First
Ooh.
off, a full CG head with that
Head
talks with the
just
lips. You're biting off a lot there.
By the way, I think they used the same shot twice here. Go back a little bit further before the woman just randomly transforms. So that reaction. That reaction. Yeah, they're hiding it by doing a push zoom on one of them. There it
They're
is.
doing both.
That's just like classic bad physics that you sometimes get when trying to do it real like that. It's like she punches him hard enough for him to fly 20 feet over to a wall.
Yeah, why does she fly back?
An hour to get
It also went right
Not-
past his face.
just looks like blue Swiss cheese. How would we have done that differently?
Bloom.
Get a stunt
Yeah,
coordinator?
some blue glows.
Yeah.
Like there's no blue on the actors. Like there's no like blue light really being cast on them.
Particles are the thing that I would want to add here.
Ooh.
You could even drop in like literally a fire embers element and just color it blue and just have like a little.
Hey, that did look better.
They have muzzle flash. I'm all for acknowledging, short time, crappy decisions from the producer and stuff like that. I can't excuse bad muzzle flashes.
It's got like the M4 muzzle flash on the front where the gas expands out the side of the muzzle brake.
And it's like really tiny.
It looks ridiculous. Dude, that.
She's clearly just jumping onto like a crash pad in front of a green screen, and they're just taking her and keep framing her out to the left.
You can see her hair go straight up.
Yeah, as she accelerates sideways.
Yeah.
I would have just not had her accelerate. I would have just let her continue diving, cut, and the next shot she's spinning around. Now
You're so
eye
right.
blasting.
Don't
Why
accelerate.
Yeah.
Don't accelerate.
She
And
flies
honestly,
off
the
screen.
definition of the shot is like this at all to begin with. Every single VFX shot is locked off. They're going with like the easiest way they can approach these shots, but it's still
Man.
just making them look really bad because you have nothing covering up your weaknesses. Like this shot of her close up like that.
That's a sweet
works
shot
so
right
better,
there.
Yeah.
This might have been the case where it's like I've heard that VFX shots need to be locked off when you shoot them. If it's not locked off, it's going to be way more expensive and take a lot more time, is probably what they're thinking.
I think you're totally right. I know people who work on shows like this, and it's usually just like literally the tiniest team. It was probably legitimately one person who probably worked on this whole thing in probably 2 or 3 days.
Take it to see, Mr. Murdoch. Let's stretch your legs.
Terrible
Okay,
VFX
next
in this
piece,
movie.
We're gonna look at
Terrible.
going down in the ocean.
Iceberg straight ahead. Iceberg straight ahead.
You've seen this, right?
I haven't seen it since I watched it on VHS during my birthday when I was like
This is never
12.
seen in CG, by the way.
No, it's not.
The only CG in Titanic is the water and the occasional extra people on set.
Really?
Dude, that's awesome. Those practical effects are great.
There's already crazy things happening all over the place. Like, for example, that shot of the iceberg passing by the boat. You'll notice there, none of the ice that lands on the boat comes from the iceberg. It's all poured off the side there.
It
Is
looks
it really?
legit. It
Yeah.
looks super legit.
Everything's real there except for the iceberg in the sky. Because that iceberg is actually a miniature that's been filmed separately.
It looks flawless.
Oh,
The
how
practical
funny.
effects Bends the ladder. It really brings everything together.
Miniatures, huh?
Oh, I love that. They
How
did
do
it
you
in
do
Star
this shot?
Wars.
Take note.
Man.
You exist in an era where the only CG, the only fully rendered images you can do is of maybe some extras walking around.
All right, so they're real, and the edge of the ship that they're touching is real. The ship extending into the background.
I imagine it was probably an actual like filmed miniature.
It is miniature. And they're
Yes.
filming this scene with a motion-controlled camera.
Yes.
And they're doing the shot again with the motion scaled down for the miniature. And this stuff is all over the place. They would actually film the shot in real life for the person on set with the motion-controlled rig, and then scale down that motion and film that same motion again on the miniature and just stick the two on top of each other. So the actual
Really?
visual effects part, the actual compositing, is really easy.
Yeah.
It's a green screen key, set your footage on top of the other one, and all the other work is done for you.
Holy crap!
This was like 2000, right?
Titanic is they built a set
1997.
that's basically the
I
full
said it
size set of the
2
ship.
minutes
There's only
ago.
one side of it. The other side is all
Don't worry
set.
about it.
This is the actual set right there, which they built to be able to slightly angle into the water.
What?
Yeah,
What?
this is the real deal.
That's real. That's real.
Yeah,
What was the budget on this movie?
$200 million, which is the biggest budget back in the day. So there's an interesting problem they had to solve with Titanic. With all your miniatures going into the water, you get to start reading the scale of the water. You
Huh.
don't kind of know how big waves are and how big water
Right,
droplets are.
okay.
Yeah.
They actually needed really, really, really big miniatures to actually sink into the water and have it look correct. So they had a miniature as big as 1/6.
Wow.
I think they go down to like 1/30th, if I'm not mistaken. So this is a shot where he's on a green screen. We are looking at a miniature.
Because we can see the front of the ship.
So you can see the front ship and also all the water work. And the reason it looks so real is because it is real. It's just a miniature. That boy right there, that's a full-size set that they're sinking into the tank.
This is inspiring watching this, man.
This kind of movie wouldn't get made anymore.
No.
The fact that they're doing so much of this stuff practically.
Another
No.
crazy model shot right here. This is all model. The whole thing. They
Oof.
actually had to do this twice. They did it once. They rebuilt it over 2 weeks and then did it again.
Wow.
All those people, fake.
Dude.
All those people in the water.
I mean, I hope so.
with motion capture extra. They went out, they would do mocap sessions. All the basic stuff we take for granted that's like for free to grab online today didn't exist back then, and they had to go and they had to capture all of it, and they'd stick all those little 3D people all over the deck of the ship. The visual effects in Titanic are really not that complicated. The magic in Titanic is them going out and getting the hundreds of people in the water in full costume, getting the full model of the ship and sinking it in the water tank. Like, that's the hard stuff. And that's the stuff these days that they don't do anymore because all that hard stuff is now done with CG.
But that's tough, man, because this definitely has a sense of realism
Yeah.
that you don't get with CG. This one's for James Cameron. Oh snap!
Oh, this video looks familiar.
No, this
Oh,
one is
they made this
all
video.
Oh, I
real.
love Boston Dynamics. Oh, it's
We
Boss
are.
Town.
Joe Rogan's not.
Joe Rogan thought that was real.
Did we pull Joe Rogan? But dude,
Joe Rogan thought it was real.
Joe Rogan and Hideo Kojima all see this video. I can die peacefully now.
It's a more ambitious version of the previous Boss Dynamics video we put out back in June. Hi.
We wanted everything to be as real as possible.
Joe
The
Rogan
whole
thought
thing
it
about
was
this,
real.
It doesn't work if it doesn't look and feel 100% real.
So go check it out on the Corridor channel if you haven't already. We have lots of cool shorts like this one, usually visual effects based. Hence why we're here doing Visual Effects Artist React.
There's also a side-by-side comparison of both before and after of this video.
That looks
you
so
see
real.
Kent in his suit, in his chrome ball helmet,
Getting
and then
Would
the
have never
camera
known.
beat up.
So go check it out. We'll have a link somewhere.
That's like the robot in Interstellar.
Yeah,
Totally practical. I mean, not in this case, but it looks it.
Now you're making me do this.
this is nuts.
So I was really surprised to find out that this scene, the whole scene, is all CG.
100% CG.
100%.
Whoa!
Now all your friends have to die.
Wow.
Whoa, I thought he was in a motion tracking suit.
He is.
I haven't-
That's the thing.
I only saw this in the theaters.
Okay, what? Quentin Beck is Mysterio. In the comics, he is a VFX artist.
What?
Yeah. As an homage to that, he actually is wearing a real ILM like motion capturing suit.
Deep
Like,
cut.
as his on-screen actual real mocap suit.
So Spider-Man Far From Home is one of our most requested reactions, and if you guys have any of the movies, TV shows, etc. you'd like to see us react to, please leave a comment below. It's great inspiration for us.
So if you are the VFX artist who worked on this shot, this sequence would be your VFX reel, right?
Yes.
I mean, this was probably the coolest moment of the entire movie. It was a company called Frame Store.
So in order to break down the sequence, there's actually not a lot to break down. It's all CG, and yeah, there's some different techniques going in. But this is where I would like to actually take a moment and delve into what makes this CG look real. How do you take a sphere sitting on a plane, and how do you bring it up to this level where it looks like a sphere that could be sitting in this world?
Well, the first thing you gotta do is set up your lighting.
I would grab an HDRI, high dynamic
Frame by
range
frame.
image.
And an HDRI is a 360-degree photo of a real environment, so you're getting real light samples.
The HDR provides both the color of the lighting and the direction of that lighting, and the intensity of that lighting from every possible direction.
So the next thing we want to do to the sphere is we want to give the surface some color.
The first thing after you actually identify the colors, you actually have to give it physical texture. How do the grooves reflect light in different directions? So for that, we'll use what's called like a bump map or a normal map. And that'll actually tell the render engine the sort of terrain that sort of object will have. So like a wooden sphere will have like little grooves between each of the wooden slats.
And that's like the micro detail that would be way too hard to go in and do by hand.
So from there, I determine what is reflective and what absorbs light completely. Just like all these other maps that we're listing off, this would be a black and white map. Whatever's black is 100% reflective. Whatever's white is not reflective at all. And there's a lot of gray in between there.
Technically, every surface around you is reflective, even the ones that seem rough. The only difference between that and a mirror, for example, is that a mirror is taking light rays and bouncing them off at sharp angles, whereas a rough surface takes light ray and scatters them in a bunch of different directions. And so having
Keeping up all this?
your color channel,
Keeping up?
good HDR,
Yeah,
lighting,
it brings me back to
realistic lighting,
physics.
a reflective map detailing how glossy something is, and normal maps / bump maps or even displacement maps to give a surface its microtextures, and then rendering all of that in a physically based rendering system using ray tracing and good simulation of light rays. Just from a pure rendering perspective, that's how you make something look real, and that's like the foundation of what's going on in these scenes for Spider-Man. The systems that let you do all that in just one go and have everything work are only a few years old, and that's why you're kind of seeing these movies just starting to hit these photoreal edges that they're getting to. I think 2019 marks the year where CG has crossed the line into photorealism and we cannot tell the difference.
Yeah,
Sam's doing
Absolutely.
Cool Blood
it's
Simulator.
true.
It's
pretty
scary
amazing.
how long that must have been to render.
We're looking the wrong way because Sam's working on something right now. We're doing Star Wars rated R, specifically the Order
Ooh.
66.
Execute Order 66.
So expect that video very soon.
Subscribe. Not miss it.
But, you know, I go to sleep every night wondering the age-old question: who the heck framed Roger Rabbit?
I mean, the movie answers it.
He just kept up at night. He never finished it, I
Never
guess.
finished the movie.
Groundbreaking, that is the first movie not to incorporate cartoons into live action. It was the first movie to do it with camera motion. The camera is all over the place, panning around, doing crazy moves, and interacting with people all over the place.
The 2D and 3D is really funny. They don't do that anymore.
No.
Notice the serving trays are real.
But it totally
although,
has a
in
different
fact,
feeling
lots
to
of
it.
cartoons are holding real things. Real pianos.
Chair.
And the first time ever, Donald and Daffy on screen at the same time. In order to blend these worlds, it's
That was the
there's
first time?
insistence on characters interacting
Surprising.
with real objects.
Scotch on the rocks.
How do they film those like real serving platters, but with cartoons there?
I know the answer to that question.
Well, tell me the answer, Nico.
You
I
guys want to
wanna
know the
hear it.
answer?
Is it like a skinny stick off frame that they're moving it around with?
Clint's pretty close. This whole set is built raised off the floor. And underneath it are people with sticks with the serving trays on them walking along, and the sticks are just through little
Wow,
grooves.
they had to do
They're
all
puppeteering from
that?
underneath the set.
That's stressful.
Oh, okay, and they're not painting out the sticks; they're just covering up the sticks with the cartoons.
Wow. They had to build all that
Serving
so you
hard
could have
enough.
so you could have a stick.
Oh my.
So here, cartoon car, right? How
Oh,
are they
boy.
doing this?
Oh, he's sitting on something. That steering wheel wasn't even attached to anything.
I mean, he's definitely on some sort of little buggy.
He is actually in what's basically a little like ATV
Woo!
that they like rigged up. And there's actually a stunt driver sitting in the back of it doing all the driving.
Okay.
He's just
Little
holding on
ghost
for dear
driver.
life, trying not to get thrown off.
He's
of
getting
it.
thrown, dude.
Yeah. Once again, there's little touches everywhere, from the newspapers being like kicked up
Yeah.
to like the dust from the brake.
Wow. I have taken the effects on Roger Rabbit for granted.
Cartoon objects in real life.
The best effects you will take for granted,
Oh, yeah.
unfortunately. It's got to be believable, so you're not supposed to notice.
All right, so here's a great
not supposed to
example
question
of
either,
all
yeah.
the things coming together. The chair move. Cartoon just moved the chair. The real gun, by the way, the cartoon is holding. It's
How
not
are they
cartoon
holding
gun.
that gun? Is it another gun on a stick? Is it a gun on a stick?
It's actually a puppeteer above with a gun on wires.
What?
Just puppeteering it along and making
Oh, this is-
It's a ghost gun.
It's so hard to make.
That must have
That
been
little shadow
freaky,
ship, I
just
think,
like a
is the armature
gun
for the
popping up
Yeah.
and coming at
So
you.
the guys up,
Ooh.
gun stuff
Ooh,
happens,
ghost gun.
and then the water spraying out of Roger Rabbit's mouth. So that's a little tube coming up that he's pretending to push down that has a little hose on it. Watch the handcuffs on Bob Hoskins' wrist.
So they're stiff.
They're stiff, and it's actually Bob Hoskins doing the puppeteering himself with his wrist.
Oh.
Wow.
Every shot
Really?
has a real element to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
That's
The
so
compositing
fun.
here, this isn't a computer compositing where you're just taking the layers and adding them in your computer. You're literally taking the background film and the hand-drawn film
Wow.
and taking both those and shining light through that onto another piece of film to
Yeah.
get the final
Holy
exposure.
cow.
So cool.
Leave a comment down below.
That's like when they used to
Look
paint
at
film
next,
frames.
maybe,
Yeah,
the new
yeah.
one.
So actually,
Is
for
that
Sleeping
What I'm trying to
Beauty,
say is that you guys should leave a comment for any
Whoa,
TV
whoa.
shows or movies that you want us to react
Speaking
to.
over,
Both
I'm
good
sorry.
and bad. It's
Well,
great
You'll
inspiration
you'll
for
tell me all about Sleeping Beauty
because we have a lot of
once
cool
this
stuff
video
coming
is
out.
done, Julia.
sorry.
I am the director now.
Blew that at me.
Look at me.
I am the director now.
I'm Gorski, Corridor Digital. I'm here today to tell you about a word from one of our sponsors.
We have to listen to their ad.
They
You're
help
right,
make
you're
these
right. Corduroy
videos
Digital, they're
possible.
important.
What is ExpressVPN, you might ask? Well, this is a VPN. It's for privacy. It basically encrypts and helps keep your data safe by projecting it out into a big network of cool proxy servers, make it hard for hackers and FBI agents to monitor your internet traffic. We've all been there. There's something you want to know about, but you don't want to Google it because you're worried that you'll be in your search history. Well, ExpressVPN
Oh, yeah,
We're
it's
gonna
on
hide a
me.
body.
safeguard that privacy you wish to maintain.
Whether you're
Actually,
a guy, a
since
Firefox
we worked
guy,
with
or a
these guys,
Safari,
VPN,
whatever, ExpressVPN
we've been
has
using
extensions for every
their
single one.
program, and it is good.
Also
Yeah.
has leak-proofed its VPN
It
server
is.
security. No leaks.
Keeps
John.
your weird searches safe.
John has set us up a
Less than
lot. So, yeah.
$7 a month with a
Thank you,
30-day
John.
money-back guarantee.
And if you want a cool little discount or cool code, enter this one, CORRIDORCREW, and you can go to expressvpn.com. Look at that. Look at all that.
That is expressvpn.com/corridorcrew. It's less than $7 a month with a 30-day back guarantee of money.
Oh, I love that ADR.
Sweet. I gotta check out that short film they're talking about.
Huh? Sorry.
Huh?
What were you saying?
What were you saying about Sleeping Beauty?
Yeah,
that
not
you
relevant at all.
You just had to
I
get
had
out.
to tell you.
You had to get out.
So, my VHS tape of Sleeping Beauty growing up, at the very end of the credits, Disney would come out and he'd explain how they made the movie and how they didn't go bankrupt making it. $1 million back in 1958, I think the year was. I'm very bad at years. They actually hired Gothic artists to do the background. So they're real paintings, and they would actually paint each of the wider, newly developed frames. So you are looking at a painting when you watch that film. It is
Wow.
true art.
That,
Yeah.
that does link.
It does link. It's
there's
kind of
a
like
way.
a.
No, but it worked.
Yeah.
It segued well. What did you think of Corridor Crew's video?
Oh, I love them. They're so knowledgeable. I feel like I'm learning about VFX and the ways to properly do them not only in camera, but then in post. And I think the biggest bit is knowing where you have to go in post so that you can film it correctly.
One thing that's cool about these guys is, them being VFX artists, they do emphasize that it's best to do as much in camera and practical as possible and only use VFX when you really need to use VFX. Because that's when VFX actually does really shine. When they're talking about Titanic, I didn't know any of this making of Titanic. I never learned all that. Like, oh wow, they did that all with miniatures, or even that moment where Jack DiCaprio is at the, do you know boats? I don't know the name of wherever he is at the edge of the boat. Yeah, what would you call
railing?
that? Yeah, we'll go with that. Or is it the railing that was all green screen? They put DiCaprio and his buddy in a different moment, surrounded by green screen, and then they just planted him there. I did not realize that's how it was done. Beyond that, even with the iceberg stuff, of how what they did was they made a miniature iceberg. All that I had no idea. The amount of extras, different splicing they had to do, but they did as much as they could in camera and practical. And nowadays, it would just CGI it. And I think that's why Titanic holds up pretty well, is because that big climactic moment for the powerful dramatic heft for the ship crack in half and then go down, you need that to look and feel as real as possible. And literally, like 20 years later, looking at this footage, I'm like, damn, that still looks really, really good. And nowadays, it would just be CGI, unfortunately.
I mean, it makes a huge difference. Even when you're like on set and filming, when the actors can be in that environment and see the ice pouring at them. Imagine, okay, this giant monolith iceberg is coming at us. It totally informs the performances and the blocking and the camera, and everybody's much more inspired and understands what they're about to see. Might have been Sir Ian McKellen was talking about how when they did the X-Men movies, they were in like this giant room of green. And as a theater actor, that's the worst because there's no environment to play with. There's no energy. As they say, yeah, VFX is one of those things where it elevates something, but when everything is VFX, then you're just in a computer, and that can be really limiting.
What they're talking about, though, too, with how 2019 has become the year of photorealism. We had The Lion King, which was all about, oh, look how freaking real.
Look at this entirely animated movie.
Yeah, they're calling live action. It's totally animated the entire time. I watched the video of the VFX artist of Avengers Endgame. There were so many things in there that I didn't realize, like, whoa, that is all CGI? I thought at least this building that they're in is real, but apparently, like, no, almost every frame of that movie is pretty much CGI. Even, like, certain costumes they were wearing that I was blown away by how that is CGI. And when they're talking about what Spider-Man, Far From Home, that whole sequence, which is my favorite sequence in that whole movie, I noticed very early on, like, even with the Tobey Maguire days of Spider-Man 1 versus Spider-Man 2, nowadays I noticed that the lighting for CGI heavy stuff, they often make it really dark to make it look more real. It's like I watched Gemini Man, and it looks so great, the young Will Smith, when it's in really dark lighting. You practically can't see it,
I mean, Princess Leia was in, like, bright lighting in Rogue One, and it's like, I mean, it looks right, but the uncanny valley is a little weird there.
Yeah, so we are getting better, though, at master. I haven't seen The Irishman yet, but I hear that looks great. I hear, like, you quickly look past the de-aging.
The ethics of de-aging is super debatable right now.
I think we should do it.
Yeah, full-on de-age.
Have you seen The Godfather 2?
I've seen most of The Godfather 2.
If The Godfather 2 came out today and Marlon Brando was still alive, we would have been like, sorry, De Niro, you can't be young Vito Corleone. We're just going to de-age Marlon Brando instead, and it would have been better.
Ooh, hot take.
I don't mean that.
He, like, wouldn't refuse to learn his lines because he's like, oh, I need to react.
Brando?
So,
Yeah.
So he'd have his fellow actors wear his lines so you could look at them and read them.
Brando is the best actor.
Truly a method.
We should have done that on the set of our
I
short
know.
film. That would have.
That would have helped a lot, wouldn't it? But hey, those one-take wonders, man, you were insane. Can I just say, an incredible actor.
Seamlessly go back to plugging our work.
Well, I just want to plug Greg because y'all should hire him as an actor.
Did you hear that?
He is a dramatic actor, and it's truly impressive. I mean, you pulled out a beautiful performance, and I'm very grateful for all your hard work.
I appreciate you saying all that, especially the dramatic actor stuff. But
So I'm plugging you, man.
You also said I want to plug Greg.
Oh.
And
Ew.
that's all I've been stuck on.
Ew.
Just hire me for dramatic work.
So, I mean PG work.
Anyway, quit making things awkward around here.
That's all I do.
What are we talking about?
You're talking about VFX. but-
Right. Well, the whole thing with Spider-Man 1 and 2. Wow, we went way off.
Spider-Man
we
3,
went
though.
way off rails, didn't we? I was trying to make a whole point there. Is that the VFX I noticed greatly improved from Spider-Man 1 to Spider-Man 2 with Tobey Maguire because of how you do lighting. It seemed like a lot that went into, even though it was all computer lighting with Far From Home, the attention to detail of cropping with your lighting and the shading is just as important and valuable in order to make your VFX look that much more realistic. Still, you know, doing as much in camera as possible. The one that blew me away was Roger Rabbit.
I
Out of all
know.
these like crazy big movies.
I would have never guessed that they had done all those practical effects, and it's so funny because the gags, even like the guy getting sprayed in the face with the water,
Yeah.
like it reads so well.
I actually had not seen Roger Rabbit until a few months ago. It was very recent. My girlfriend showed it to me, and I was like, "I've never finished this movie. I don't know who framed Roger Rabbit."
Well, he doesn't either. and
He
He's
doesn't
seen
know,
it,
yeah.
so.
For some reason, never questioned how complicated of a shoot that must have been. That is more complicated than what we do now. It's so seamless, and it seems so simple. And it's like what you were talking about. Like, you're not supposed to question it. And it did seem like, oh, this is probably easy to do. They just animated them and threw them in there. And come to find out, in order to do all these things that I would have never thought about, is something as little as carrying. This is what I told them when I met them in person, is the thing that their channel has helped me out the most with is realizing how much I take for granted. Well, the penguin carrying the tray, that's something I would have never bothered to be like, how'd they do that? Oh, that's impressive. I just watch the movie and go, oh, cool, that was a cool shot.
And they set it up like a theater too, you know? How there's the main stage and then they're below puppeteering, and I can't, okay, it's hard enough balancing a tray with a drink on it to then throw it on a stick and be under a
Yes.
stage and like going through all the people.
They had to build a whole set just for that. I think nowadays you would probably just get some little person in some green screen suit and just hold a stick, right? But no, they had to go all out here. Roger Rabbit, kudos to them for the amount of hard work they put in there. And
God bless.
the actors too, Bob Hoskins having to do that performance. Part of what made that movie work so well, even to this day, is I really believe Bob Hoskins is interacting with these people, these animated characters, and come to find out, it's like,
He's alone.
There's no performer he's interacting. He's doing this all on his own, you know.
It's kind of like Charlie Chaplin though. It's like that classic comedy.
True.
He was the master of in-camera
Mm-hmm.
effects. That whole scene where he's like riding around on his little bike and he's supposed to be on the edge of a building and
Yeah.
you can see the whole cityscape below. What they did was they just really had like a little miniature picture of a cityscape or like a video of a cityscape and closer to the camera so it appeared bigger than it was.
Huh.
And then he's out here in the background cycling around so that edge appears on the camera as if it's right here and he will fall, but really it's just the floor.
You're so smart.
I just spent a lot of time on the internet. These guys, I can't imagine how they're able to work in these programs. They are beefy programs and they take a lot of time to learn.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for being here. Julia, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You guys can subscribe to The Real Rejects, click that notification bell. More importantly, watch the short film. It took a lot of hard work. It took me 3 days. Her
Months.
6 months. So please go check it out as soon as you can. I'd like to end this with a patron today. Shout out to a man named Andrew Nickerson. Andrew, my friend, we haven't talked in a while. See, I tend to talk with our patrons and sometimes private messages, and then they get mad at me when I don't get back to them in a timely manner. But I tend
He's
to
a
have
busy man.
tend
I
to have
stole him.
a long conversations. Andrew lives closer to where you're from.
Oh,
He's from Washington, though. You're from Boston.
that's not. I mean, same coast. I'll give you that.
It's the same.
I'll try
co-
to be fair.
I was trying to make this work. Andrew right now is single with a great career. Julia, are you single?
I mean, yes.
Can I set you up on a date with Andrew Nickerson? Please just say yes. He's so desperate. He is so desperate. He's desperate. You got a yes and? It's the rules of improv.
Yeah, man. I'll hang with your buddy. He seems like a good guy.
I didn't say hang. I said go on a date with Andrew. Andrew, I'm trying to make your shout out worth it.
Thank you, bud. No, I will hang with you.
Wow, Julia.
East Coast, Beast Coast. We're in it to win it.
Way to go. Now he has unpledged from the Patreon page.
All right, for you, Greg, and for your buddy, I will definitely go on a date with him. Is it in DC? Do I have to go to DC now?
I'm sorry, Andrew. This video's done.
We tried.